The sound.
The sound of the county. And all the music you love. BBC Radio Somerset.
So there are some other stories in the papers, just to point out there. There's also quite a lot online about the first meteorite fragments that have been found in Britain for 30 years. As I mentioned before, thousands of people reported seeing a blazing light shoot across the sky just over a week ago, including some of you in Midsummer Norton and the Bath area. One chap in Gloucestershire, he then found a pile of charred stone on his driveway. Dr. Richard Greenwood from the Open University has been describing opening the picture that he'd been emailed.
What he sent him was what he called a rogues gallery of possibilities. And so I opened up number one, and to be honest, it was like one of those moments when your legs start going wobbly, because I saw this thing. It was like a splat across his drive, and it had all these rays going off it, and I just thought, that is a meteorite. It was like instantaneous. And I phoned the gentleman up, and I said, I believe that you sent in a picture of a meteorite. So I said, well, I live in Oxford. Can I come over and talk to you? He was delighted. So I headed off, walked up his driveway, and he had a bag, plastic bag. And he opened this bag, and it was sort of like the second wobbly moment of the day. I looked in there, and I just could not believe it. It was literally unbelievable. And one of the reasons for that was that I had worked 30 years ago at the Natural History Museum on a very rare type of meteorite, which fell in South Africa in the 19th century. It was called Coal Bockveld. And what was in front of me was Coal Bockveld. It was the same meteorite.
What can we learn from this? Dr. Richard Greenwood there from the Open University. It meant we had to put a call in to our man Josh Dury, an astronomer based in Wales. Morning to you, Josh.
Good morning, Claire. How are you and your listeners doing?
Oh, I think we're doing all right as can be. How is life with you?
Yeah, it's very good, thank you. So, yeah, especially with astronomy, there's always more to see in the night sky, so making best use of the clear skies when we have them.
Indeed. And, I mean, with this fireball, first time in, 30 years? I mean, explain the rarity of this moment and what's been discovered.
So what happened on the 28th of February was quite a dazzling meteor or a fireball, which was visible over the skies of Somerset. Really, it's a rare space rock which fell over the area of Winchcombe, which is around Cheltenham, and is a rare form of space rock. So this is our carbonaceous chondrite. So that's for a bit of techie terminology, just in case you're aware. But it's an extremely ancient piece of interplanetary debris. So if you imagine, this predates our own planet. So this is a very rare kind of meteorite to fall towards the Earth. And also, by studying these meteorites, it's so important to learn more about how the early solar systems formed and the origin of habitable planets. So the fact that it's been 30 years since we've been able to see an event like this is a very rare event where we've been able to sample recovered meteorites here in the UK.
I mean, in terms of what we expect that to be composed of, and will there be a lot of scientific people going, oh yes, well, we expected it to be this and we expected it to be that?
I think more so because of its dark appearance, which we've seen recently in images from the Natural History Museum, because it's so incredibly fresh, and it means it's hardly been exposed to terrestrial environments, which means it's as best can get for meteorite research. So as soon as it's a fresh fall, really, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event.
That's amazing. Do you think these events will ever increase for any particular reason?
It really depends on so many matters there, Claire, but really, to get an event like this, as I mentioned earlier, is a once-in-a-lifetime event. So very lucky to even get one of these, really, just a couple of weeks ago. But again, that can all depend on the amount of debris which would be in space and depending on the Earth's orbit as well. So it's, again, this mixture of being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, indeed. And, I mean, you have to think as well, it's a good thing, it landed on his drive and not through his window.
Yeah, very lucky because, a little bit different in the Earth's orbit, then that could have been a nasty situation. However, what's really exciting is for it to be found in a location where it was, there is the possibility that more of these meteorites are out there. So for those who are listeners, especially within the Gloucester region, check your gardens, check your driveways still for unusual dark rocks, But most importantly, contact the Natural History Museum, because they're the ones who'll be able to care and cater for these meteorites, which is so important for meteorite research.
Oh, lucky Gloucestershire. We were so close. Josh, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for being back on the show. Do get onto Josh's website, which has got some stunning photos, as well as he is a photographer, and just some great shots of not only the sky but also around Somerset. Josh Dury, photo-media.com. Josh Dury, photo-media.com. It's 7:25.